Hey everybody, this is Grace, and it's early this morning. Well, not too early. I wake up usually around 5, so it's September 11th, 2020, 9:20 a.m. And I don't know when this video will actually go up. But today I woke up and I felt in a totally different, I don't know what you would say, mood, I guess. I felt better. I think I've not been well, but I felt better. And I got online to do something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I've been saying that I want to do it for a while. And that is to look for some scholarly journal articles on, and I still have trouble with this word, I don't know why, illusory pattern perception. Okay. And I found a couple of articles. Now, this isn't usually something that I mean, it's never been something I search for. And one of my, not even sure what, I don't know the journal. And the other one, I just don't know the journal. It's Judgment and Decision Making. But I found the first one I found was really, I liked the title. I'm surprised by the title, but I liked the title. And it's called Finding Meaning in the Clouds. Okay. Illusory, why I do that. Pattern perception predicts receptivity to pseudo-profound bullshit. It actually says bullshit, spelled out. It's like, well, that's surprising. I read a little bit of it. I haven't really gotten in deep into it. It was published March 2019. Anyway, I'm going to be reading that one. But yeah, anyway, the other one was published August 2017. And I like the title. It's called Connecting the Dots. Boy, haven't I done enough videos on connecting the dots. Illusory pattern perception predicts belief in conspiracies and the supernatural. Okay. Read a little bit of that one too. Yeah, I'm going to finish reading them. I'm determined. And another one, but I didn't look up the same thing. I looked up conspiracy theories. And this one was published November 2016, Applied Cognitive Psychology. It's called Why Education Predicts Decreased Belief in Conspiracy Theories. I looked them up for a reason, as you probably know. Adam had asked me the other day, he said, why do these people believe in stuff even though they have evidence right in front of them? And but they believe and they twist and they spin and they fail to believe. They don't want to believe in what they, the rest of us do, I guess you could say. I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but it's something along that line. And I have been thinking that since I was a child, wondering about this, because like I've said before, my mother was a conspiracy theorist. And some of these people think they just now invented this stuff. Some of them, she was, it had, of course it was appropriate for that time. And some of the things now that people can have conspiracies on, they didn't have then to do so. But she was a conspiracy theorist, first one that I was ever, knew, of course, my mother. Yeah, and she believed in a lot of things that, I've mentioned before. When I was a very young child, probably 5 to 7 years old, somewhere in there, she would have me, I think she planned it to where my dad would be watching TV in another room, and she would have me sneak out the back door with her into the yard to look for UFOs. Okay. Now, I don't believe in any of this stuff. I don't believe in UFOs. Well, I can't say that exactly. I mean, I'm not going to be wearing a tinfoil hat, and the way I look at it, there's bound to be something besides just us. No proof that there is, no proof that there isn't. Yeah, some people say, yeah, there is proof, but no. I want actual factual proof. Anyway, like I said, my mother was a conspiracy theorist. She believed that Watergate was simply, it was all, like I said, down the line of conspiracy theories, and never believed any of the outcomes, and she was a Republican. And there's a story about why she was Republican, which was very, they wouldn't tell us. Nobody in the family really liked to, the elders, tell us things that we needed to know, my siblings and I. And, it's about our past, our ancestors, and the way that they believed, why they believed the way they did. My mother, I've said this before, and I know there's another name for this, some would say moderate Republican, but I say she was a liberal Republican. And then I'd say, no, she's an independent, really. And as for my dad, I would say, joke and say he was a conservative Democrat. He was an independent. But I think my dad he was the more narcissistic one, and he would use anything to gain and anything to show power and control. So where we were at the time, most, from what I understood whenever I was growing up, they were mainly Republicans and conservative Republicans, and my dad was this man like, I dare you type. Okay, so he chose to be Democrat, but he was extremely conservative, and I think he chose it as a power thing, a power issue, which some would say, boy, that's unusual. That's kind of like a little bit the opposite, but no, he was the type to dare people to, and plus he had heard the story about my mother's dad. So I think he kind of tried to model himself after my mother's dad. And what had happened, like I said, they didn't really tell us enough to make things understood. But it was something about my maternal grandparents. They were wealthy people. And her mother had been a nurse before, I don't know when it stopped. Like I said, they didn't tell us enough. And her father had been a pipe fitter. And really, I don't think that they needed to work, but he did. And he was a little man. He was, I don't know if he was actually Amish and broke away from them, or his parents. What was the situation? I don't know. He was a very nice, very sweet man, but tiny. And anyway, he was a pipe fitter. And the other pipe fitters, like I said, it was very Republican there. And they, from the little bit of the story we heard, they threatened his life. They threatened him if he didn't vote Republican. Well, this man they called Wimpy, he stood up to all of them and voted the way he wanted to vote. Okay, plain and simple. He voted his conscience. He voted the way he did. But somehow, some way, that affected my mother. She was an only child. And so she decided to become Republican. But she would talk about it and let us know it was out of fear from what she saw her dad go through. So, now I'm saying this is full disclosure. This is my introduction to these things when I was a child. And I'm an independent. I don't join parties. I don't even like to call it, I've said this so many times, myself an independent, because I'm independent. And it sounds like, you're saying, okay, I'm part of this party. I'm not a party person. I'm not. And anyway, but my mother had, I think a lot of things affected the way that she felt about things. And only little bitty bits here and there we knew, like her mother. Her mother had been a nurse, and her mother reported something about 2 young girls that were 5 years old. And she had been a nurse, and she knew what she was talking about, that they had basically been molested. And she reported, and the people in charge, said that kind of thing doesn't happen, and that it's her mind. It was that her mind made up these things, or something along this line. And they put her in a, whatever it was called back then, for a while. And she, they claimed she was paranoid. She was a nurse. How many times I'm going to have to say that? Yeah, in my lifetime, she was a nurse, but because of their ignorance. You see what I'm saying? So, and she stood up for, you know, after that, really, she didn't go much of anywhere. And she, you know, she was a homebody. And my mother was too. She had suffered from, I believe, agoraphobia. And so, you know, we think about things are shaped by our experiences in life, but also people from before us in our family and our society, and of course, you know that, people who no longer exist. But, you know, reduce it down a bit, you know, to family. I do, you know, I wish I had had more information. Both my parents are deceased, and we don't have any elders left. I think there's one uncle, but he isn't biological, and this is my dad's sister's, one of his sister's husband, and they divorced, I think, long before then. But anyway, we don't have anybody who has a record of it. One of my sisters looked up the Ancestry.com, I think, on there, and it was quite interesting because they kept a lot from us. Some of it we had hints of, and I mean, some of it is kind of obvious to look at us, you know, especially one of my sisters, my dad certainly, and even one of my nieces. But it was, we have members of 4, count them, 4 Native American, what people formerly called Indian, wrongfully, Indian tribes, 4 Native American tribes in our ancestry. But they kept it hidden because they said that their family doesn't talk about those members of their family. Really? You know, and it was on both sides. I think 2 and 2. I remember when I was a child, a young child. Me and one of my sisters are real close in age, and I think it was the 2 of us. We had to go to some kind of ceremony, and we didn't know. They didn't tell us why. My dad, he drove us. He didn't tell us why. And we went there, and we had to participate in this ceremony, and it was Native American. They didn't tell us why. I just remember we had to participate, and we didn't even know what we were supposed to do. We just were told to follow the rest of them. They knew what to do, or something like that, something along that line. But must have been some kind of rite of passage or something. And you know, but a lot of who we are, how we see things, are shaped by our past, even if we don't know what is our past. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to dig more into this, and I only found really 2 articles that I would read. Some of them were on the same topic, but down a different road, I guess you'd say. So, and that's on the that one. And the conspiracy theories, there were plenty, but I'm going to start here because I have this habit. I have so many printed out of scholarly journal articles, and I haven't finished all that many of them. And I'm going to try to get back into doing that. You know, I had experienced major burnout, major to me, years ago, and I'm trying to get, I think I'm ready to kind of dig it back in. We'll see. I've been saying that for a while, though. All right, enough on this video for now. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.